Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about a completely separate and different topic altogether, which is something about copying and moving data, right? So you must have been wondering, or you might have seen that how people are helping organizations to migrate data, helping as in by using either third-party tools or any other way, and also many companies are not ready and interested in using the third party tools because of different reasons, right? And it includes the cost, it includes the skilled manpower or the people who should have enough skills to be able to handle those tools and work on those tools so that they can go ahead and work on it. And even if they don't have any in-house skill, that means they have to rely on third party or vendors, right? So these are the different scenarios, and many companies do look into scenarios or requirements or use cases where they are going to simply procure a third party tool and ask that respective vendor to provide a training or workshop for that particular scenario that they are expecting and that they wanted to do it, right? And that is why they would be doing the workshop and sharing their experiences, their knowledge, and their internal team members would be trained on it, maybe one or two or three workshops, and then they would be educated, right? So once they are educated, they would simply start exploring the tools, and upon exploring, they would also go through some of the kind of different scenarios like API-based migration or tool-based migration or whatever it is, right? So I'm going to talk on different approaches, majorly two approaches. One is SaaS-based to SaaS-based solutions or the SaaS to SaaS migrations, right? We are seeing that this is going to happening. This is happening already, and this is going to be increasing more as well because there are many companies which are completely SaaS-based. They don't have anything on premises. That means they don't have any on-premises footprint, and they are completely relying on SaaS-based solutions, right? And now they have requirements to move their data from one system to another system. Even if it is a SaaS-based solution, still they should be able to migrate and they should have their data back, right? Because it's not something this business has used a particular system for 3 years, 5 years down the line, and now they are not going to use it and they are going to use a different system altogether. But it does not mean that they should keep their data and system or the data basically back into that respective system. And that respective system vendor or provider is going to either delete the data as per the contract and everything, right? So they should definitely be taking actions whether the data should be deleted, what should happen with that data and everything together, right? So that's going to be a part of contract, of course, but definitely the data which is created, generated by the business, that data should be taken from that system to the another system for the business to run on, right? So that is why these are the key components and these are the areas which is increasing, right, day by day, right? So that is what I'm going to talk. What are the areas? What are the ways? And probably there would be different ways as well. Those might not be covered in this video as well, right? So let me share my screen and I'll walk you through on those areas and those options as well. So let me put this on presentation mode. So this is going to be presentation again, right? But it's going to be very helpful for anyone and everyone to know and understand basically, right? So starting from SaaS to SaaS and on-premises to SaaS and vice versa. So I'm going to cover all those scenarios as well. So the first one is just to understand an overview where we would start or what are the reasons to start the migration basically, right? So that's something there could be reasons because of the costing and solution is not expected and the solution and the system itself that we are using that is not working as expected for the business, right? So those would be the solutions. But data migration from SaaS, on-premises and cloud, there are different ways. Those are the approaches how we can go ahead and take and stages including assessment, planning, execution and validation. And when it comes to the tools, methods and examples or the different scenarios, right? As I said, from SaaS to SaaS, on-premises to SaaS, and vice versa. Definitely, that's going to be the key here to understand and take it ahead. So this is going to be the framework for any migration, I would say, to start with, and you would end up doing that, starting from assessment and discovery of the environment. What is there in environment for you to plan and understand, right? And then once you understand that, you can start ahead or move ahead with the planning and designing the solution, or the designing the target environment for the migration, right? Whether that platform, for example, you are moving from SaaS A solution to SaaS B, then you need to make sure you are planning it appropriately, what SaaS B planning or SaaS B solution is supporting when it comes to the migration. What are the different options, methods, whether it is a API based, whether it is a third party tool, or whether any other way that we can leverage. Then data preparation, data migration or migration execution, and validation and optimization. So data preparation is something which is going to isolating the data from the source system, understanding what it is in scope for us to migrate, and whether that data is classified, something like confidential, is private, or maybe that's not ready for migration because of regulatory compliance requirements, because there would be requirements where that data should not be moving out of the business or out of that particular system or region itself. So that's going to be something we have to take care of that scenario as well, right? And then migration execution, here we would start with the pilot migrations, and then we can go ahead with the actual migration where we can start and do the migration. And towards the end, we would do the validation and optimize that target system, right? So basically validating everything that is being migrated, whether that data is available as per expectation, whether that is accessible to the people and business overall, right? And people are able to use it, and to optimize the system from usage perspective, from reporting, from licensing, and everything together, so that it's not something we are simply spinning up the services and systems, but we are not fully optimizing it, and that's not going to give us the expected outcome, right? And that is why optimization is also going to be the key area over here. So let's start with the SaaS, right? So this is a simple and straightforward SaaS migration flow look like, right? So where you would be doing a discovery, inventing data, and different integrations along with the API methods or different APIs. Those are integrated with the respective SaaS-based solutions that we wanted to plan for migration, or that we wanted to move ahead and migrate from source system to the target. And on the planning phase, we would be doing mapping the schema, planning cutover, and validating access levels upon migration. But these would be the phases where we have to take the steps, right? On the migration options, we can start with the native connectors or tools, because many platforms or many SaaS-based solutions, they do also provide different connectors for migration scenarios, right? Either those are the inbuilt connectors into that respective platform, or those can be taken by or used by either by using third-party tools, right? Like BitTitan, ShareGate, and many other in data migration use cases. And the third is API-based scripts using REST or Graph APIs. That's something that is also possible and available. And infrastructure or IPS connectors, those with the third-party tools again, including MuleSoft, Power Automate, or Boomi, right? So these are the different options and ways that can be leveraged for SaaS to SaaS based migration, right? Now you might say, okay, these are the four different options, but are these really going to help in what scenarios, right? So it totally depends on how we are going to migrate the data from what system, right? It could be the scenario where one system is supported API based scripting, but another system does not, right? And they are asking or they are supporting other third party tools like MuleSoft or Boomi, right? Or it could be the possibility that there is a solution or tool or supports BitTitan, but the target system does not, right? So it could be that scenario as well as vice versa. So it is something that we should definitely doing that assessment as well, and make sure we are taking the appropriate steps, because as we are moving out of the target source system to the target, that means definitely we should be looking into all of that stuff, all of those assessments, and that's a part of our migration assessment and discovery scenario, right? And once we do that, we have validation phase where we will verify data integrity, permissions, and access levels across the user base so that people are able to access. And once everything is successfully migrated and as per expectation, that should be calling it as successful migration, right? So that is how it is going to be in the SaaS to SaaS scenario. This is a simple SaaS to SaaS architecture from the conceptual wise or concept wise, where source SaaS and then transformation layer and then target SaaS based systems. So these are the options. We can start from SaaS, maybe using APIs, connectors, or tools that, as I said in the previous slide, right? And then transformation is something that it could be either with the data or it could be with the API middlewares, whichever is going to, because API is the one where which is going to be used in scenarios to communicate from target, from source to target system and move the data, right? And the target system, it could be anything like Microsoft 365, Dynamics, or any other SaaS-based solutions which are out there in the market today, right? Including secure transfer, OAuth, and TLS, because we wanted to make sure data is moving over the internet securely. It's not something is been infiltrated or exfiltrated. That means the business and system data is not safe and secure, right? And overall, the system itself is not secure, right? So that could be the scenario as well. Logging and validation and schema mapping. So that those are the steps which will take upon understanding and making sure everything is going to be perfect when it comes to the integrating systems for and preparing systems for the migration, basically, right? So that's how it is going to be. Now, on-premises to SaaS based migration flow. So this is going to be the same, where starting from identifying data sources, whether it is file server, databases, or any applications, that is going to be assessed and understand and what is in scope, what is not, and how we can go ahead and uh, plan for the migration, right? So in the planning, we would defining the approaches for files, databases, or hybrid migration approach, and then we can start with a different approaches, whether it is a file-based migration, database migration, ETL based in those scenarios, and hybrid scenarios as well, where we have to move from on-premises to cloud or any of those situations, right? And then the validation of data integrity, user access levels, and backing up those data, right? Or the data sets, basically. Now, this is going to be the same, where we have to make sure everything is intact, including security, compliance, and governance as well, right? And access levels at the same or upon migration, but before and after, that's going to be something. But what is going to happen between those systems or during the migration, right? So that's something which is going to fall under the migration methods. And whatever the method we are going to select, be it file based, API based, or anything that we wanted to, that's something we have to make sure that is going to work as expected and do the appropriate way of migration, right? So that's how it is going to be. Now, on-premises to SaaS-based architecture, or the conceptual wise, where we are moving data and files and everything from on-premises to SaaS-based solutions, right? So it could be databases, files, and anything that we wanted to. And similarly, we would look at the source and target systems and the middleware, which is going to happen over the internet or over the connections that we are going to build, whether it is a VPN way or express route or anything other than that. So these are some of the ways I have put together. But when it comes to directly move from on-premises to cloud or SaaS base, it is not something, or it is not always mandatory or required to we have to expose or we have to bring those network connectivities or VPNs or anything, right? So we can directly leverage public facing APIs as well for that reason, right? And that way it should be working as expected and it should be allowed to do the migration. And on the target system, on the SaaS side, we should also look at the encryption of data during and at rest, right? Along with the role-based access levels and backing up and validation steps upon migration. So these are the steps that we should definitely be taking and making sure everything is aligned as per the data along with the as per the business as well. So this is on the on-prem to SaaS side. This is the mapping of migrations or the tools mapping for the migration basically. So this is not formatted as appropriately, you can see, but this is something that I have put together on different scenarios, including SaaS, on-premises, API or custom scripting, and hybrid. So you can see there are SaaS to SaaS, some of the recommendations tools that I put on-premises to SaaS. There are different tools, and then API or custom scripts, including Graph API, REST APIs, including Python and PowerShell scripts. And on the hybrid scenarios, these are the another scenarios, or these are the ways using express route or VPN gateways or integration runtimes, which is going to allow us to do that, right? So this is something which is a pretty straightforward way, but definitely it is also worth looking at each of those tools which we are going to use for the migration purpose, be it SaaS to SaaS or on-premises to SaaS, and which tool or method is going to be really be working as expected for us, right? And without that, if it is not working, then it is something is not correctly mapped or it's not the right solution for us for the migration. Now, these are the few of the modern cloud native migration patterns, right? So I put this in this slide because this is something definitely be leveraging when it comes to the data migration, basically, be it any of these solutions or any of these patterns that we leverage. So these are the migration strategies, I would say in short, from lift and shift, replatforming, refactoring, and re-architecting, basically. And you can take the appropriate step for the migrations, right? Basically, from lift and shift is going to move anything whichever is there into the whether it is on premises or from SaaS based solutions to the another SaaS or to the cloud as is without making any changes or any modification basically to the data and systems altogether. And replatforming is kind of modernization where move data but change platforms, including whether it is from SQL to any other platform, right? Be it into the cloud or any other scenario. Similarly, refactoring, we are going to migrate logic and data into the another new SaaS-based solutions. For example, something like custom-based CRM tool, right? And we would be moving it to Dynamic 365 or any other tool, tool or solution, basically. And transform, which is a re-architecting, basically complete a redesign a solution. It could be microservices or cloud native adoption that can also be leveraged into the cloud or any other solutions, right? So these are going to give you clarity where whether we should be doing what or what type of migration we are going to do, right? And this is applicable to the SaaS to SaaS migration as well as on-premises to SaaS and vice versa scenarios as well, right? So that way you can understand better way and you can take the appropriate steps for the same. And security and governance best practices, right? So this is something is very important as well. So that's why I have put it here where we would be leveraging and using OAuth 2.0 or API tokens instead of direct credentials because we don't want it to expose any of those credentials on the or over the internet connections wherever the system is going to be calling different APIs from source system to the target system, right? And that is why these are the methods too. At the migration now, during migration, we should also be encrypting data during, right, and after the migration. So in transit and at a rest in both scenarios, applying least privilege access for migration accounts so that we are not giving it a highly privileged access. And if in case that account got compromised, that means everything is going to be a toss, right? Maintaining audit logs and data lineage so that it is going to give us the clarity what's happening, what's going on, and we can take the actions enabling data retention, post-migration activities, and perform post-migration access reviews into the SaaS environment so that we can validate and understand what is happening. So that's a part of security and governance as well, right? So this is very important part of that as well. Validation and governance practices. So validating records and record counts and metadata, performing integrity checks and backups, encrypt data in transit and at rest again, use least privilege access, maintain audit logs and access reviews, document rollback plans, right? So these are the same areas, but these are more into the governance side, right? But definitely we should be looking into this as well and take them when it comes to the migration and setting up the environment. These are the few of the migration strategies in this scenario I put together, including Big Bang, phased, hybrid, and continuous sync, right? So Big Bang is going to move all the data in one go. We are not stopping or we are not blocking anything, right? So we would be either starting and ending up doing the migration either on weekends or something like that. And on the phased, it's going to be department wise or a region wise or something like that. So we would be starting from either a specific department and only migrate their data first, and then we can start with the other departments and then do the migration for them. On the hybrid one, we have coexistence for some time between different two systems, right? Source and target, and we would be then migrating gradually, and we will keep both the systems up and running so that we can leverage and use source system as a business system during the migration, and we are not impacting business at all, right? And then we can cut or we can do the cut over once the migration is completed. And on the continuous, it's kind of real-time replication for low downtime systems, or it's going to be the same as hybrid with coexistence, but it's going to be with a real time, right? We are not going to break or we are not going to impact both sides or both the systems, but we wanted to make sure whatever data is created, used, modified, and everything into the source, the same should be replicated to the target in real time, right? And some of the real world examples, source, target, and tools. Source could be Google Workspace 365 as a target, and BitTitan is a tool, right, for the migration specifically. Similarly, for file servers, Exchange servers, Oracle DB, Salesforce, and Jira, right? So these are the some of the tools, or I have put and some of the examples here and to understand it better way, how you can go ahead and take the actions, or what should be the source, or what is source, what is target, and which tool is going to be used for what, right? So basically that way is going to allow us to take the next steps, and we should be able to do that. And some of the key takeaways, so these are the pretty standard, including or starting from assess, always assessing and planning and validate before moving that or moving data, using automation wherever possible, including APIs and connectors and everything together, prioritizing security, compliance, and auditability of the migration as well. So that's very important for this or any kind of migration that we are going to do, including test migrations in sandbox or test environments first, so that we understand and gain the confidence and experience as well, how that system is going to really work, whether that is working as expected, and if there are any flaws, any issues, any changes, or anything that is not expected, we should be reporting it to the either respective service provider or tool or whoever it is going to be, right? And then that should be validated and fixed it. And validate the user experience and access levels along with the permissions and everything together, so that the system and data is ready for the business, right? It is not something we are simply migrating, but it is not working as expected for business and users and the whole organization basically, right? Which is not expected at all to, right? So yep, that is what I wanted to show you and walk you through and make you understand about different approaches, different ways and areas how we can go ahead and do the migration between SaaS to SaaS based systems along with on-premises to SaaS and vice versa, right? So yeah, that is what for this video. Hope you like it. Hope you learned something new. And let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, and anything that is bothering you to understand something about this scenario or area, right? So I'd be happy to answer them and clarify your doubts and questions you might have. So don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well, right? So that's it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.